With us now, former Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips challenged Joe Biden in the 2024 Democratic primary. Good to see you, sir. I was always raised to believe that racism was bad. I know you were as well. What is happening in Minnesota?
Well, I'll tell you, Leland, since the George Floyd murder, Minneapolis has changed considerably. And I think we in this country all too regularly mistake quiet for peace. We learned the lesson the hard way. I believe everybody watching right now, I'd like to think most, would agree racism is terrible. We all play a role in ridding our country of it and defending the quiet and those unable to do so. But what's happening in Minneapolis is deeply troublesome, and I think something the rest of the country should take heed of.
I would argue it is just as bad. It is racism. Some people call it reverse racism. I don't think there's a distinction. I think it just is racism. But I think in a larger sense, you've got Tim Walz, the governor in Minnesota, who was obviously the vice presidential nominee. You've got the district attorney there. There is this progressive utopia that I can't imagine for Democrats is good for normal Americans who believe in right and wrong to see.
Well, it's not utopia. That's the problem, Leland. And two things can be true at once. Democrats can care deeply about those who are struggling. We can care deeply about those who are disenfranchised. But the answer is not to be lawless. The answer is not to forego accountability. It's just the opposite. And we can do two things at once. We can walk and chew gum. We can invest in young people, provide protection and security and safety. We're not doing a good job. And we must ensure accountability, because theft and misery and poverty and everything we're seeing in our streets right now is not political. It's an American problem. And as you know, whenever I'm on your show, I say the same thing. I'm deeply disappointed in both parties. The Democratic Party, though, has got to start listening to mainstream America that is deeply, deeply frustrated.
Yeah, this is the same prosecutor, so people know, who passed on prosecuting a vandal who went and did about $20,000 of damage to people's Teslas because he didn't like Elon Musk. So that is her perspective. You think about the Democratic thought leaders. I think this is interesting. This is J.B. Pritzker, governor of Illinois, Chicago and Minneapolis, not that far apart in terms of results. Here he is launching, I guess you could say, his presidential exploratory campaign. It's the only reason you head to New Hampshire in April. They're talking about, quote, do nothing Dems.
Fellow Democrats, for far too long, we've been guilty of listening to a bunch of do-nothing political types who would tell you that America's house is not on fire, even as the flames were licking their faces. Those same do-nothing Democrats want to blame our losses on our defense of black people, of trans kids, of immigrants, instead of their own lack of guts and gumption.
This is what I'm confused by. Guts and gumption to do what?
I got to tell you, Leland, when I see that clip, my first reaction is, first of all, I'm a fan of Governor Pritzker. I just wish he would have taken my call in mid-2023 when I called to encourage him to jump into the primary against Joe Biden, because we were never going to win that race. So when he and so many others in this band are complaining about the do-nothing Democrats, I wish they had done something, when we had time. And that's what my entire campaign was about, to wake the darn party up at a time we were sleepwalking into disaster. So I have to say, I take all of these little missives and speeches and rallies, with a little grain of salt, because they were all quiet when it really mattered.
Well, and you would know, because I was with you in New Hampshire when you were running for president, against a party that was really trying to stop you. One more from Pritzker, because I think this is important, the road he is going to. Here he is moments ago on MSNBC.
The dangers that we saw in Nazi Germany, especially in the earliest days of Nazi Germany, are the dangers that we need to react to now. If we don't, things will get much, much worse.
It appears as though he didn't learn either, that you got to be for something. You can't just sit around and compare Donald Trump to Hitler and therefore 80 million people who voted for him to Nazis.
Leland, I'm just dumbfounded, because to be a Jewish American.
Well, you said you like J.B. Pritzker, so that's why I played you the clip.
Well, I do, but I'm deeply troubled by a lot of people I like who, when push comes to shove, are not showing the courage and the gumption and the authenticity I think that's necessary. They're so damn focused on self-preservation, not principle. As it relates to what he just said, I got to tell you, the far left has an anti-Semitism problem. So anybody who's worried about Nazi Germany right now better take a look at both corners of the political spectrum. And I'm just getting sick and tired, and I think I speak for most Americans, where I'm really tired of politicians stoking up anger and resentment and division without a solution and not standing for something. Resistance is relative, Leland, and it's one thing to argue and protest. It's another to have an alternative path. And I'm telling you,
good place to leave it.
The party is wayward.
Good place to leave it. I think we can both agree that Minnesota and Chicago are not exactly exemplary ideas of what democratic politics can lead to. But that's for another time. Congressman, it's good to see you as always. Thank you for being with us.
Always, Leland.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.